We want to understand what will happen before Jesus Christ comes back. It's like how Jesus' followers were curious and asked him in Matthew 24:3. Matthew 24:3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? 2 Timothy 3:2 talks about 8 things that will happen. These are things that people will do when the end is near. 2 Timothy 3:2 For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. When we see these things happening, we need to be careful not to do them ourselves. The word men includes everyone, believers and non-believers, boys and girls, all of us. This reminder helps us avoid doing these things, even when we see others doing them. The Bible is like a guide that tells us to be watchful and think about our actions. We should look at our own lives. The first thing we're talking about is when people care too much about themselves. This means they focus only on themselves and don't think about others. Some people call this selfishness. We can see this a lot nowadays. People don't show love to others. They only care about themselves. This is a big problem, and we need to be aware of it. In the future, both men and women will become more self-centered. But we mustn't forget to love God and others too, like it says in Mark 12:30-31. These verses say we should love God a lot and also care about other people. Our love should include God and others, not just ourselves. Jesus is our example of putting others first. He always did things to help others. Hebrews 12:2 talks about how Jesus went through hard times for others. We should follow his example because God will look at how we treat others. Next, let's talk about loving money. Should we hate money? Money is needed in the world, even for good things. Money itself isn't bad, but it's a problem when people care more about money than anything else, even if they do bad things to get it. Lovers of money doesn't mean we can't have money, but we shouldn't want it more than we want God. We need to find a balance. Matthew 6:33 tells us to focus on God first, and everything else will work out. Colossians 3:2 says to think about things that matter to God, so money doesn't take over our thoughts. Another thing is boasting, which means showing off what you've done without giving credit to God. Some people, even those who believe in God, do this, but true boasting should be about God, as 1 Corinthians 1:31 says. That, according as it is written, He that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. Pride is another trait to watch out for. It can cause problems. Blasphemy is when people say bad things about God. This is common among those who don't believe in God. We must keep our faith and respond with kindness. Not listening to parents is a trait that's growing. Respecting and obeying parents is important. Ingratitude means not being thankful for what we have. Gratitude is important, and we should thank God always, as 1 Thessalonians 5:18 says. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. Lastly, not being holy is a big issue today. The Bible tells us to live in a way that pleases God. In our current times, the lack of holiness holds significant importance as a prevailing concern. The teachings of the Bible emphasize the importance of living in a manner that brings satisfaction to God. It's essential for us to maintain a state of readiness and alertness, paying heed to the indications presented by various signs. By taking inspiration from Jesus' own life, we can make conscious efforts to steer clear of negative behaviors and work towards mirroring his character. The abundant grace bestowed upon us by God urges us to live illuminated lives, always prepared for the anticipated return of Jesus. This readiness includes living in accordance with his teachings and radiating his light in all that we do. We need to be ready and watchful like the signs are telling us. We should follow Jesus' example, avoiding these behaviors and striving to be like him. We've received God's grace, so we should live in his light, ready for Jesus to come back.